Welcome back to the Superheroes Everyday Podcast. I'm Danny Horn. I'm here with Becca Petunia of Tough Pigs, Hubba Wah, and the Daily Fantastic. Becca, hello.
Hi, did I ever tell you about that coal mine I used to work in?
Was it a good experience or not a good experience?
Well, I did get some coal out of it.
Oh,
So,
pretty sweet. Oh, that's nice. That must have been for your birthday. Here we are for Act 3 of the 2020 Sleepaway Camp for Super Teens, Marvel's The New Mutants. The story so far, there is an old Native American proverb that says that inside every person there are two bears. Doesn't really have anything to do with the story. I just thought I'd mention it. What's happening in this stupid movie is that five crazy kids from all walks of life have been imprisoned in a summer camp for gifted and talented children who have murdered at least one person apiece. Little Danny Moonstar has been and will continue to torture her friends with scary nightmares that she knows nothing about unless the fiendish Dr. Reyes can put her out of our misery. This is a terrible thing to say to anybody, but welcome to Act 3 of The New Mutants. And here we are. This aftermath of Rain's bad shower incident.
is this where they finally? So we ended Act Two with you
Mm-hmm.
talking about Ray is getting the
The terminate
email
subject. Yes.
that says that she has to kill Danny. Is
Yes.
this where they reveal that
Oh, it was
who her employer
the
is?
Essex Corporation. Oh yeah. Oh, you're so right. Yeah,
Well, so
didn't
here's
mention that.
if I can talk about the Essex Corporation because I'm
Absolutely.
fascinated by
Okay.
this. So this is clearly supposed to be a big reveal.
Yes.
It shows up on the screen. It's like the Essex Corporation,
And then a
and
little
then
like symbol under it.
and the symbol is like a diamond, and I don't mean like a diamond, the jewel. I mean
Mhm.
like the
Like a
ace
card
of
diamond.
diamonds,
Yeah.
like a rhombus or whatever.
Mhm.
So this is supposed to be a huge reveal.
Yes.
And not only is this supposed to be a huge reveal here,
Hmm.
but in the film Age of Apocalypse,
Yes.
there is also a post-credits scene where it is revealed that Logan's DNA was obtained by the Essex Corporation.
Yes.
They wanted audiences to go nuts every time they saw the phrase the Essex Corporation. This is meaningless. We've already alluded to a little bit Mr. Sinister. And
Yes.
the thing about Mr. Sinister is his name is Nathaniel Essex,
Hmm.
right? So he clearly is who they're supposed to be hinting at here with the Essex Corporation.
Right.
Doesn't usually run a corporation, but okay,
Yeah.
sure. And he, of course, has a red diamond rhombus shape on his forehead,
Hmm.
which is why they will occasionally, and we see now in lingering shots, that Reyes has a diamond
Yeah.
brooch on her
Yep.
lab coat. They want this to be like so powerful and so cool to be like, it was Essex the whole time.
And like 98% of the audience.
Correct, has no
No
idea.
idea. Yeah.
The funny thing though, is that so setting up this clearly between this and Age of Apocalypse, and is
Hmm.
it mentioned by name in Logan? I don't believe so, right?
No, that's called Transigen.
Yeah, that's Transigen. They're just using stock footage from
From
Transigen to
yeah to
represent.
be the Essex. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Love it. Um, they clearly were hoping, you
Yeah.
have to assume that if the X-Men movies
Continue. Yeah.
continued, if
Yep.
the Foxiverse continued, that this would have been their Thanos or whatever.
Well, they had hired, I believe, John Hamm to play Mr. Sinister.
No kidding. I
Yeah.
think that would actually be a lot of fun.
It might be.
So Mr. Sinister would have let them set up, honestly, a decent kind of X equivalent to Infinity War by letting them do Inferno,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Mr. Sinister fronted story that brought all of the X-Men teams together to sort of deal with the aftermath of the Dark Phoenix saga.
Got it.
Was the
And so then
plot
they do Dark Phoenix.
But Dark
Yeah.
Phoenix doesn't mention the Essex Corporation, so
Right.
I don't even
No,
know
it
what's going on. Here's the other problem.
Yes.
You know how we've been saying this whole time, like, why is Reyes doing any of these things?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, because you're going to work for my employer, right?
Yes.
Mr. Sinister and his Marauders, and then
Mhm.
later his Rowdy Boys. Love that was his second team, the Rowdy Boys.
Rowdy
That is not
Boys.
a joke. Mr. Sinister doesn't just like employ people. He's a mad scientist. He cuts up people's genes, clones them, and pieces them together with machine parts like Sid from Toy Story. If you want her boss to be Mr. Sinister,
Yeah.
there's no reason why they need more than just these kids' DNA and these kids' bodies.
Right.
If you know enough about Mr. Sinister to know his last name is Essex,
Yeah.
then you know that he's a mad scientist obsessed with cloning and cutting people apart and attaching them to other people.
So Danny's talking to Rain. This is post shower scene, post terminate this subject. Danny's feeling guilty because now she understands that she was the one who brought this nightmare of the priest that branded Rain and hurt her. And Rain kind of very sweetly says, you know, I'm not afraid of you. Even if you are the one making these things happen, you had no choice. And then Sam pops in. He's like, I never had a choice either. And then he gets to talk about the mines again.
And then Berto breaks in and is like, I never had a choice about washing these dishes.
And we get to see all the same character beats all over again. She says it's not your fault. It is entirely Danny's fault. But Danny, the reason why Danny is going to put up with Reyes for another minute is because she thinks if she lets Reyes tie her down and wheel her somewhere, that somehow she will learn something more. She'll get another, I think what she wants actually is just to see a little bit more of Logan. So, she's like, sure, I'll jump into that. Maybe I'll get another
She heard that Patrick Stewart is real good in it.
Yeah. She's hoping to see some like DVD featurettes. So she allows Reyes to strap her down and bring her to a scary place. Basically, Reyes is putting her down like a baby rattlesnake.
Well, Reyes even says, like, I was a veterinarian, so I had to put a lot of dogs down.
Yeah. Honestly, Reyes should know you do not stop a problem like Danny Moonstar by trying to kill her. Like,
no, because when she gets stressed,
terrible things happen. And,
yes.
And just in general, like, if you spend any time with this girl, it's just going to get worse and worse. You need to make an exit plan. Like, that is the only sensible response to being locked up with this insane girl. And meanwhile, there is more scariness happening outside where they're going to keep, while Danny is having a hard time with Reyes, we got to keep all the other people busy. So Ileana and Sam and Rain go to Ileana's place. And her door turns black and is all spooky. And they open the door and they see little Ileana there, ready to be raped by some scary smiley man monsters. And Ileana screams at them. And the smiley man, he tears off his mask and he's an alien demon. And now they have to fight these alien demons. You have thoughts about the scariness of the smiley man?
I don't know. Like I said the whole time, I have mixed feelings about the smiling men as opposed to just making it demons.
Yeah.
I think that just making it demons is cleaner and less uncomfortable. But I did kind of like them as kind of like generic horror movie, kind of like goons that they have to get chased and get chased by. But again, then you're like, okay, well, they are kind of like manifestations of like child predators. So like, I don't know if I like, again, these are things that you have to grapple with that you don't, if it's like, well, they're just demons.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, they are actually child traffickers.
Yes. It's, listen, I mean, it's like Sound of Freedom. This is basically New Mutants is basically like a prequel to Sound of Freedom. And if you're a true American, you'll watch New Mutants.
Yes.
And the reason New Mutants didn't get a sequel is because Disney wants to keep this kind of message down.
That's right. Yeah, they're part of it.
Yeah, no,
They are
that's what
part of
I'm.
this worldwide conspiracy. I totally agree.
Yeah, we're there.
Sam and Ileana are being like chased by the Smiley Men who are trying to attack her. And Sam grabs a fire extinguisher and starts beating one of them about the head, which is great because it's like, y'all, accept what you are. You are the scary ones. Go be scary. And then we see Berto. And what is he doing? What is Roberto doing? He's washing dishes again. This is where he
I
washes.
forgot.
This is where he's listening to music. And once again, I don't know why there are so many dirty dishes that Berto needs to clean up all the time.
There's only 5 other people.
Right? How many dishes can there be? Nobody cooks in this place, but there's always dirty dishes around for him to work on. And then, so a Smiley Man creeps up on him from behind, and Berto just like flames up and just shoots flame and just like burns it and sends it screaming across the room. So again, yes, correct. You people are terrifying.
I think this is the point where Berto turns to Sam and goes, "What are these?" And then Sam goes, "They're Ilyenas," because he's trying so hard to do that Kentucky accent that he pronounces her name as Ilyena.
Yeah. It's also,
I wrote that down.
It's also amazing that like he thinks that they're Ilyenas. We are well into Act 3, and the main characters still have no idea what's going on in this movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I should also notice, I didn't like that they all call Ilyana Illy all the time.
Yeah.
That feels like a stupid nickname. To be fair, in the comics they call her Yana, which is a better nickname.
You think?
You think Illy is a better nickname than Yana?
It's a tough choice. I'll give you that.
Illy feels like an adverb that describes how you do something when sick.
You do it very illy. Well, Reyes is murdering Danny and monologuing at her about how powerful she is. And my superiors believe your powers cannot be controlled. She is strapping a gas mask onto Danny's face. And also, she's got an IV going, and she like puts something green into the IV. So
You're killing her anyway. Just get her DNA by just chopping her head off and getting the blood from that.
She's going the long way around. She is killing her twice, one way or another. We're gonna murder the protagonist of this movie. And then guess what? It is Rain to the rescue, popping out of the vents.
We established the vents.
Watertight storytelling. Out from the vents comes Rain as a dog. This is, I believe, the first actually satisfying moment in the movie, because Rain as a dog jumps onto Dr. Reyes' head and just goes at her.
Yeah, like fucks her up.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is when like actual horror stuff starts happening, but only to Dr. Reyes.
Right, that's right. Yeah, she's the one who actually gets grievously injured. She gets like huge scratches on her face, and apparently Rain like gets a good shot at her gut at one point, because it's fantastic. This is the only thing you really want in the movie. It's for somebody finally to shut this woman up.
Yeah.
And Rain's the one that does it. It's fantastic. So Dr. Reyes manages to get away, so Rain can unhook Danny from the many things that are trying to kill her. And so Dr. Reyes, like covered in blood now, is staggering out to the hallway. And Sam and Ileana are out in the hall, and they're being menaced by these smiley things. And Ileana is just like screaming, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're trapped." But like, obviously it's the other way around. Like, y'all, you are killer super mutants. How are you scared of anything? How is this a horror movie?
Well, again, like, it works if you're like, oh, well, Ileana is traumatized by these people, but Sam and Berto are not.
This is like a Nightmare on Elm Street from Freddy Krueger's point of view, where Freddy is scared of all of the people. It's like, no, dude, you don't get it. Like, you are the scary people.
Well, again, or you have to show us that the smiling men are scarier, like
right,
like, again, like, have them like try throwing fire at them, and then they keep coming, and then it turns
then they don't, because now
Ileana, but that's not what happens.
Ileana teleports away, finally,
her power,
which is her power, and then Sam just looks at the smileys and he just cannonballs up and he just rips them all to shreds. What is the problem? How is this a horror movie?
Because the Smileys don't have a power beyond just being scary.
Yeah, exactly. And then Sam and Berto, like, they're running around. They get to the stairs. There's more smiley guys. And then Ileana comes through and just murders them all with her flaming sword. She just, like, cuts them to pieces.
Which she did in the past, we're led to believe.
Yeah, so this is not a problem. But Reyes is, like, staggering around. She's all wounded and sad. And meanwhile, the Scooby Gang, the five of them all end up together in an office, which we have not seen before. And they talk about how Reyes tried to kill Danny. And Ileana suddenly says, "My file."
And just randomly reads her file.
We don't know where this is. This is a very strange scene that feels like it comes from a different movie. Ileana reads, "Patient reviles authority, but her fragmented psyche and base hatred for humans makes her a prime candidate for the program. Conclusion, a killer with limitless potential. Recommend continued investment." And then everyone is very upset. Danny thinks, like, that must have been the place that I saw. That was the Essex Corporation. And Ileana is sort of smiling and crying, and she's upset about it. And it's like, dude, you bragged about killing people. You bragged about killing 18 people. It's hard to say what's going on in this goddamn movie. So Reyes wants Danny dead. They know that she's going to come back to finish the job. She's got force fields around everywhere. And so now they are still worried about her. And it's like, y'all, again, she is a single human female walking around with a gut wound. Why are you treating her like an endless killing machine? This is not difficult. And so Danny at least understands we have to go after Dr. Reyes. And so the five of them are going down the hallway. Reyes just can't stop scolding them.
I did kind of like that, though, but it also, again, kind of like feels like it would make more sense if she was like a malfunctioning robot, or
something,
a ghost or something, where like she just can't stop doing her job even when, you know,
it is obvious
when
this is not working.
Yeah,
she comes on and she says, like, "I'd like to talk to you about responsibility."
Like, do you know what I mean, though? Like, if she was a robot whose only exists who could only to talk about responsibility.
Nope, now it just seems like she doesn't understand what's going on in her own movie. But you got to give it to her. I mean, she is seriously injured. She's still swinging for the fences. She is still trying to stand up and bully them. And so they finally find her in, I don't know what room, one of the surgery rooms probably. And they're talking to her and they're all mad at her. And so she casts force bubbles. And so this is actually the one time that we see that she can actually be dangerous in some way. So now she's just like, she's cast these force bubbles, and now each of them is trapped in their own little bubble. And Danny especially is like crouched down, and her bubble is tiny. And so Dr. Reyes is now going to use this to suffocate Danny and kill her.
We assume.
Even after all this time, like, she still thinks the point of this is that Danny needs to be put down. This is not a good idea, as everyone should know. Trying to do anything with Danny just makes everything worse. And then somewhere in the control room, a lonely little computer says perimeter breach. Now, we have learned something on this podcast, which is when you've got a system that alerts you to a perimeter breach, you are also supposed to have something that helps you deal with the perimeter breach.
Well, they only have one employee.
Once again, this facility has not invested in that part. And so we just got like Jurassic Park. Boom, boom. These heavy feet coming. Danny is knocked out on the floor. And then the very best thing in the movie happens, which is a huge bear with flaming red eyes, like Tyrannosaurus Rex huge, just like smashes through the wall. It is a big, bad movie ending type bear that just picks up Dr. Reyes in its mouth and chomps her.
Yep.
It is a very satisfying moment.
I think the bear looks cooler in the comic because of the nature of Bill Sienkiewicz's art. Again, very, very like trippy. The bear is just kind of like this giant black shape with teeth that I think makes it look more otherworldly. Whereas this is a little more bear-like. But at the same time, I was like, you know, I'm not disappointed. This movie promised a demon bear, and I got a giant bear with glowing red eyes who just bit someone until their pieces went everywhere. I was like, okay, you're delivering on your promise, movie.
And it really messes with Dr. Reyes too. Like it picks her up and like tosses her around a little bit and shakes her around and chews on her, which is fun. And so the force bubbles all disappear, and finally the stage of our lives where we have to listen to Dr. Reyes talking is finally over.
Yeah, oh God, this movie really needed more,
More people.
more people.
Yes. So we didn't have to listen to her all this time.
Yeah.
So this has been a movie about how we got to kill Dr. Reyes and get out, and now it has become a movie about we have a giant bear.
You
We
think
have to
maybe
fight.
the giant bear should have shown up earlier in the movie? I know they were holding back for the ending or whatever, but like,
I think it would have actually made a lot of sense if there were these like hints of the bear coming through that
mhm.
that maybe you
Yeah.
see it a little bit or something like that. Like when Danny gets upset, the bear starts coming or something, because it does kind of come out of nowhere.
The problem is the movie is kind of like it does feel kind of plotless for that entire second chunk.
Yes, yeah. And by the entire second chunk, you mean like most of the movie.
Yes.
It's just Berto washing dishes.
Yeah, there's a lot of dishes. We learn a lot about mining.
Yeah.
I still don't really understand coal mining, but I learned a lot about it.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about it at least. So here's this giant scary bear. Danny is still unconscious. She is going to be unconscious for a fuck of a long time.
Which, to be fair, matches with the comic because she's like
Yes.
been mauled by a bear in the comic and is
Yeah.
hospitalized. But like, I don't know, it's weird.
I feel like we have been promised two bears. There's supposed to be the good bear and the bad bear. We only see one bear. I feel like this should make you ask for your money back. Like we were promised two bears. They only give us one. Like at this point, you got to go and take this up with the theater manager. You got to like start the negotiation process.
This is why you don't start with the story about two
Two
bears if your movie
bears.
has one bear in
Not
it.
fair. It's totally not fair. No, it's just this one big one. So the fun thing that happens though is that Ileana says, "You know what? Cool. I'm going to take care of this bear." And she fires up the metal arm and she fires up the lightning and she starts using teleport portals to hell. And she goes and messes around with the bear for a while.
Yeah, so this is a really, again, I really liked the way that this movie did Ileana's powers and the fight between Ileana
Yes.
and the bear.
Yeah.
First of all, they do the obvious line of Sam going, "You can't fight that bear, it's
Yeah.
magic." And Ileana going, "Well, so am I," which is in the comic. I
Oh, is
had
it really?
totally forgotten, but that moment actually happens in the Demon Bear saga.
Oh, that's so funny. It's the first thing they do, which is comics accurate.
And first of all, she starts casting spells in Latin, which again is like I keep saying, is that her mutant power? Or did the child traffickers teach her Latin spells? Because
Yeah.
demons would do that. How
Yeah.
the child, but anyway,
Yep.
she she teleports in and out of these holes to limbo. And this is also the point, right, where Lockheed becomes real.
Yes. We finally get an actual animated little purple dragon.
And so like Lockheed was real the whole again unclear,
Unclear.
but unclear in a way that I like,
Yeah.
like Calvin and Hobbes, although that's much better, but like
Yes.
where you're like, I don't know or care if this is real, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah. Yep.
But the thing that I really loved about this fight scene when Ilyana starts fighting the bear is how every time Ilyana hits the bear with her sword,
Mm-hmm.
the background flashes really quick to limbo and then like to punctuate the impact.
Yeah.
I thought that that was just really, really rad. Like, again, I don't
Yeah.
fully understand it,
Yeah.
but it at
It
least was
looks cool.
something that I was like, oh, that's visually cool. This
Yeah.
is making me like enjoy watching this fight scene.
Yeah. Everybody gets like a couple of moments where they can be cool for a minute, and this is definitely Ileana's moment. The bear doesn't really get hurt. Like this is going to be one of them things where like everybody fights with the bear individually, and it doesn't, and they don't get anywhere.
Well,
You
he's
got,
magic.
yeah, you gotta wait for Danny. But we're still gonna do this. So Rain takes Danny, picks her up, and carries her to the church. For some reason, we've decided that the chapel is gonna be safe for her, which is not the case. And Berto is with them, and Rain says to Berto, "Hide." And he is exactly prepped for that specific instruction. He just like puts his head under something and just pretends he's not there for a little while. And Sam goes and he smashes through the wall of the church like the cannonball that he is. And so he gets some time to mess with the bear as well. Danny is still, and then Danny is so useless. Rain is talking to the unconscious Danny and says, Danny, I know you're in there. Come on out. We need your help. You need to make this bear go away. And then we see this vision. This is where Danny is inside her head in a snowstorm, just looking around, not being helpful at all. And she's yelling like, Rain, where are you? And the answer is like, I'm right here. Just wake the fuck up. And Danny goes and she hides in that tree again. That's what she thinks is appropriate for this moment.
Yeah, the difference again between like the comics and this is, yes, Danny is technically unconscious in both, but like, first of all, she tried to stop the bear and failed before she was unconscious, but
right.
Tried again, took a more active role, and secondly, is actively trying to help Rain throughout the fight, even while unconscious.
Yeah,
so
that is
again,
not the case here. Yeah.
Feels more active than just hiding in a tree.
In an imaginary tree inside her mind. Now, Berto is still hiding, and Sam's getting knocked around, and Ileana's kind of having a hard time. And this is amazing. This is one of my favorite things. That Sam yells, Berto, nut up.
Last note I took, giant letters, like takes up like 4 lines of this notepad. I wrote, Berto, nut up.
And that is what he needed to stand up and turn into the terrifying flame monster that he is. And it's like, oh, that's the thing. No one ever told him to nut up before. That was his problem the whole movie. If only Dr. Reyes had told him an hour and a half ago to nut up, everything would be fine. And so speaking of quitters, Danny is just lying there, still unconscious, still hiding in her tree. She needs to nut up as well. I feel like this film is just full of people who need to nut up. Now, through the entire movie, this is Danny. This is my issue with Danny Moonstar. Through this movie, she has been driving the plot and all of the horror, but she has been completely unaware of this. And at the end of the movie, she has to be unconscious for 10 minutes while everybody else nuts up and fights a giant bear. And the big heroic action that she needs to take, which everyone will congratulate her for, is to wake up and figure out how to stop torturing her friends. Because Danny's dad hugs her. Like, this is how she gets up. Is that in her dream, Danny's dad shows up and says, it wasn't your fault, but now you need to wake up. And finally, she wakes up. And here comes the bear. And Becca, what does she do? How does she stop this bear?
Well, she has a bit of a like sun's getting real low moment with the bear, where she like walks up to it with her hand out, and then she starts saying, control, control, which like, does this mean that Reyes was right?
She was right the whole time.
Are we supposed to be like, wow, these kids did learn something nice from...
They learned the word control.
Like, no, you need to have her like use her friends, because what was supposed to be like the good part of being in this facility was meeting kids like her.
And you know, if you believe in yourself and you stay true to your friends, you can accomplish anything.
It's true.
And if you know the word control. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, this was like, I don't get it. I don't necessarily need it. I don't know. This was, I don't know what I needed. I think also like, this is why the demon bear can't be one of Danny's illusions.
Mm-hmm. Because otherwise she can control it and turn it off.
And then she is the one who's fully responsible for everything.
Yes.
It maybe would have been a nice twist if it was like, wait, no, this one isn't me.
Now we have to actually fight
and then maybe she could have summoned a second bear by the first bear.
Yeah. We could have had the good bear show up.
The angel bear.
Or a big picnic basket or something.
Yeah.
So Dr. Reyes was convinced that Danny could not control her own powers, which she clearly can do.
Correct.
As soon as somebody clues her in on what the hell her powers actually are.
Correct.
All Reyes did was just stress her out some more. But the bear, she takes her bear necklace off and she puts it in her pocket. And that is a reminder of how small this bear really is. And the bear just dissipates into smoke. And everybody is all banged up. Berto is naked, which is amazing.
Yeah, he's like holding like a piece of a pew in front of
He's
his.
got some wood just in front of his dignity. And then guess what? It's a happy ending. This is one of them horror movies like you have that have completely happy endings where the birds are chirping, everything is fine, the building is destroyed, the force bubble is gone. Danny reaches down and there's a picture of her and her dad on the floor in front of her.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like you didn't bring any possessions with you.
Correct.
You were found in a tree.
Correct.
But it just so happens the exact thing that she wants to see at this moment is just like sitting on the ground right in front of her.
She has illusion powers. They could have made her see her dad through that if they needed to end that way.
So Danny just says, thanks to everybody for saving me. And Rain says, are you kidding? You saved us. And she didn't. No. Not really, but fine.
Rain is gay for Danny.
That's true.
I've said things like that when I had a crush on a girl. It's fine.
That's a real good point. Yeah. Sam, and then if you really want character development, Sam takes his little piece of coal out of his pocket and he throws it. And he like cannonball throws it. So it goes over the church and far away. And now he doesn't have his coal anymore. And he says, hey guys, the dome's gone. And so now they're all just going to walk out together. The 5 of them. They're all together. They're homeless. They're broke. They're bloodstained.
Not sure when they became friends.
Yeah, that kind of just happened in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, we didn't mention it because I'm not sure when it happened.
Yeah, no, it wasn't specific. There was no specific moment for that at all. But yes, now they are 5 super teens just walking down the road. And then you know what? My father used to tell me, says Danny, that inside every person there are 2 bears. One bear is all things good. The other is all things evil.
They were so proud of themselves for coming up with this.
I know. I asked him which one wins, and he answered, the one you feed.
Which is not what happens.
It's not what happened at all. They cannot decide what they're doing with this bear, but there it is. And that is the happy ending of the New Mutants. It's gorgeous.
I was curious if there was going to be a post-credit scene. There is not.
There's not, because they have nothing to promote.
Yeah, because they were, again, I truly believe that they just finally released this again to be like, hey, do people still want to go to the movie theater? No, they don't? Okay.
Nope. Yeah, all right, never mind. Yeah, it's just like, fine, we'll just put it out. And we usually talk about toys at this point in the show, but there are no toys for this movie. They made the correct choice on that and said this is not a movie that you need action figures for.
The Marvel Legends, Ilyana and Danny and Cannonball came out around this time.
Oh, is that right?
But it was
possibly related, possibly not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Marvel Legends does their own weird thing.
Yeah.
I will say the Marvel Legends Danny is really cool because she comes with multiple heads such that you can pull off her head and put on Rain's head, or you can pull off her head and put on Karma's head, and you could have 3 different characters because all women in comics have the same body type anyway, so it works great. And I do have 2 of her, so one of them is Karma on my bookshelf. Sadly, none of them are Rain. I have 2 severed Rain Sinclair heads in my desk drawer.
All right, if that's how they want to do it.
I have 2 of Danny Moonstar because
because you got to have 2. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you got like. So they're just straight up saying people don't really buy the female characters.
Correct. And they're recognizing that, again, in cartoons, all women kind of look the same.
They've all got the same costume and the same body.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Final question about the New Mutants. Becca Petunia. What do you think happens to this group of kids as soon as they leave the grounds of the hospital? Like, what's the next 5 minutes for the world going to look like?
They fight with each other and don't succeed at doing anything because they're not actually friends. Eliana retreats into her imagination. Sam probably gets a job on an oil rig like Superman in that Superman movie with the oil rig. Berto calls his dad, and I don't know, Danny and Rain,
burns down the rainforest probably.
and I don't know, Danny and Rain they kiss and then go to a homeless shelter. I don't know.
I feel like Catastrophe is just going to follow these people wherever they go.
Which could be a decent, like,
yeah.
I mean, listen, I guess they could be like the Hulk in the Hulk TV show.
Yeah. Oh, where they travel around and make everything worse.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That you're correct. That is what should happen. Becca, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been super fun. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could talk about another comic series that I really like and movie that I thought had its good parts and its bad parts, which is how I felt about Rise of the Silver Surfer.
And is pretty much how you end up almost every superhero movie.
Yeah, listen, I think this was probably better than Rise of the Silver Surfer.
I think you could make the case.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as I'm saying that,
I know.
Like,
then you start thinking about what was in Rise of the Silver Surfer, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Becca, where can people find you in the world?
Well, social media is kind of having its own Danny Moonstar nightmare. Yeah. So what I always say is the best place to find me is on the website toughpigs.com, which has survived since 2002. 2001.
2001. Yeah.
Yeah, it survived since 2001, so it's much older than Twitter and isn't showing signs of going anywhere. I write for Tough Pigs. I do a podcast for Tough Pigs that Danny has been on and will be on again. Season 3 of Hubba Muppet Trivia Podcast should be dropping by the end of September.
Great.
I am on social media though. I'm on Twitter at Uncle Petunio. And I'm on all non-Twitter social media at Tall Girl Petunia. So Twitter is with an O, everything else is with an A, because sometimes you transition after establishing your Twitter persona.
Yes, that does happen to people. For more comedy about the history of superhero movies, you can go to the blog at superheroeseveryday.com. If you like the show, please leave a review, or you could reach me on Twitter, Facebook, or on the blog. It'd be great to hear from you. And please, I'm begging you, nobody knows about the show. Please tell the people in your life that the show is wonderful and good and that you want other people to listen to it. And if you want to know what you're listening to, here's what's coming up in the next episode. Coming up in 2 weeks, Stuart Manning joins me to talk about the tremendously toyetic 1997 Ice Capade show, Batman and Robin. I feel like on the whole there is not that much sexuality in this movie, but goddamn, that is actually a dildo-shaped rocket, and there's just nothing you can say about it.
Does it eat diamonds?
I believe plummet is typically what you would do from 20,000 feet up.
I like that she's wearing her school uniform after what is at least an 8-hour flight.
Batman as a franchise has a lot of faith in the power of liquids falling on people and people falling into liquids as a means of personal growth and transformation. All right, get excited for that and come back for the Superheroes Everyday podcast. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.